All right, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Trendy John from Simpler Trading. I hope everybody's doing well today. So this is just an impromptu, just like I like to do. I'm going to go over my trading alerts for December, so we did November as well, and kind of give you an introduction, but I didn't speak a whole lot about how to read them, the source of them, how they come through, and I just want to kind of give you a little bit of background. So this will be a video that's not short and sweet, but maybe, probably I'll spend about 30 minutes kind of discussing my background, why we do what we call API alerts, and the value that I see in them. First off, before we get started, alerts have always been something for me that mean proof of concept. So basically, when I get up here and I say, hey, this is my system, I want you to learn the system. This is how Melissa and I trade the system. I want you to know that I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Okay, and I'll get back to that here in a few minutes. A long, long time ago, when I first started trading, I was just like anybody else, and I went to a lot of different trading rooms. And when I went to those trading rooms, I was kind of left wondering not only how to make money when the alerts went right, but also when I lost money, what could I do to prevent that again? And so I found that I was in search of, at first I thought, let me back up, I thought that I was just going to be able to copy alerts and make money. And the truth of the matter is, like, that is a very difficult process because we're all different when we take a trade, right? It's a personal journey. We all have different risk tolerances. We don't have the same size accounts and so forth. So it's really, really important to understand this. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about not only my story about not getting the satisfaction, but what led me, what gave me the fire to dig deeper and figure out a way to alert without thinking about it. So what I mean is API. Basically, we go behind the API, and as soon as I take a trade in my Thinkorswim account, it goes directly into our members chat area called alerts. Okay, now I want to be very clear, we do not and we no longer use Discord for any sort of service. I keep all of this from when I had trendy trading. All right, and the reason why we keep it is because it's like a backup. If anything were to go wrong, I know I can come here and find those, and then our provider who sources this is able to come here and find out what the problem is. Okay, so I just want to show you over here because it's easier and quicker, but I also wanted you to know that these alerts come right over here in the simpler room. They're not as colorful and pretty, but they are the same information, if you will. Okay, now again, as soon as I click the buy, this is sent within milliseconds to the room. Milliseconds. Okay, as soon as I trim a position, it's sent within milliseconds. The other thing that you'll notice is that, and once again, it's a little bit more colorful on Discord, but you still get the same results you're going to get whether we win or lose on the alert. All right, so everything's really, really transparent. And so going back to that story, why this is so important to me is because once I learned a little bit better about trading rooms and trading and trying to understand to get a better process, I realized there was a lot of traders out there who were just feeding me alerts and expected me to get better off of just copying alerts. And then I learned that I wasn't in the same shoes as them. I didn't have the same size account. I didn't have the risk tolerance. That's for damn sure. Right. So a lot of times what I would see is we would have written alerts, right? And this is like the common thing. And I'm going to take you to a whiteboard. And so what you typically see when you go to a service is that somebody might tell you, hey, this is my setup, or they might not even tell you that. You might just be sitting there along, hundreds of other people and you're chatting, and all of a sudden you get something that comes in that looks like this. Apple 123 calls long at, let's just say, $2.53. Okay. And I would get this alert. I'd go out immediately. I would look at the option chain. I would take the 123 call. And most of the time, because it was a written alert and you don't know if they actually just took the trade or not, the entry price would always be different. right? It was like one of these things, and not a lot of people talk about it anymore, and that's because in our room, you don't really hear people saying, "Hey, oh my God, the entry price was so much different than what was alerted," and so forth. Because again, it's in milliseconds, right? So the first problem that I ran into was the fact that I was unable to get the same prices. The second thing that I ran into, and I think this is really important, is that the quantity was not there. The quantity was missing. Okay. And so when the quantity is missing, what happens in a lot of these rooms is that you get several trims, right? So the person in charge of taking the trades, the master trader, is trimming at 270, and you get these emojis and we're all pumped up and you think to yourself, okay, he trimmed. All right, or they trim again, and now they're trimming at $3, and you're like, "Holy smokes, man! Everything is going amazing. I've already made like 50 bucks on each contract." And then an hour goes by, and they're still trimming, right? And these people are trimming, and not only did you not know what the quantity was, but you're all out of contracts, right? Nobody said, "Hey, man, I'm really convicted on this. I took 50 contracts. This is something, I would throw the kitchen sink in on," and hopefully no one talks like that. But you get my point. So what happens is you run out of trims. This guru, all right, is trimming at these levels, and all you can do is hope that, hey, this person's being transparent. Well, come to find out, after about 9 or 10 rooms that I had been in, I started to do my research and I pulled up a thing called the active trader, right? And I was able to go into thinkorswim, and then I could look and see when people were actually taking trades, and you would be pretty shocked and surprised. I found that many of the rooms that I was in, when you looked at the active trader, the time and sells on the actual contract, which you can search and find, that they weren't actually buying, or they weren't actually trimming when they said they would trim. Okay. And it was really easy for me to catch on. Now, I want to be clear. Not everybody does this. This was my experience, and I do believe that it still happens. Okay. Now, the next thing is, if you don't know the quantity, you don't really know what the percent gains are, and it's easy for us as traders. I always joke around and I say, man, we have some of the shortest term memory, right? We really do. You're as good as your last trade. So a lot of times you're unable to really follow, especially if someone trades a lot, you're unable to really take it in and understand if somebody's actually doing okay, right? There's not a percentage applied to it unless somebody makes like 500%. They're definitely going to let you know about that. But on the regular, right? I'm always like in search. I'm like, are we actually doing well? And there's no history, right? I can't go back. It's really diluted. There's not a lot of transparency, and you start reading all these weird alerts. So when there are written alerts, just understand, for me, it means it's not coming straight from an API. I don't actually know the exact ticker, the exact call. Was it a limit price? What was the price of the option? What was the quantity? What was the gain percentage? And by the way, this was executed at this time exactly. So you can go back and you can check all of these things. And once again, this is coming straight from a live account from thinkorswim. So we do all of this to be super transparent, but this is the funny part that I like to laugh about, and I really, really mean it. If you watch me type, you would understand, not only because of the transparency, but because I have such a hard time typing and trading and thinking, right, in front of hundreds of people. Why would I want to type alerts? I got to get in the trade. I got to get out of the trade. I need to focus. So one thing I would tell you is I did these alerts for myself. All right. So I wanted to be able to concentrate on trading. And when folks ask me questions and they want to know these type of things, they can ask me and I don't feel stressed, right? I'm not sitting here typing going, hey, I'm getting into Apple. Oh man, price is moving. Do I alert this? Do I not alert it? And those are kind of the things that I found in a lot of different services. The next thing that API alerts really help is that you are seeing 100% every single trade that I take and Melissa, except for future trades. All right, so again, another disclaimer there. API alerts from Thinkorswim do not pick up my futures trades. Okay. Now we go over futures every single morning. We talk about entry, we talk about what the risk is and all that type of stuff, but you will not see my future trades. Okay, so this is options, this is equity, this is credit spreads, this is debit spreads, this is if I want to sell something naked, and again, shares if I'm trading shares and everything of the sorts. Okay, so one thing that I really love about you seeing all of my trades is that I cannot cherry pick. Okay. When I say cherry pick, I'm talking about me, not you. I understand from your standpoint, if you're in a room and your whole goal is just to look at traders and think, okay, if I follow their alerts, I can make money. And remember what I told you, education is first. This is a proof of concept. So you're using this to understand that I'm doing what I say. That digs really deep inside of me. You guys do not understand, if you don't know me, how much that fire burned. Me finding out that most of the people that I followed were full of crap. Okay? They weren't doing what they said they were doing. Okay? So again, when I say this, I'm very passionate about it. I have a lot of pride in it because I don't know of anyone else who is doing API alerts within milliseconds to their members. Okay? So I want to make that very clear that I know of. And I've been around a long time, especially in the FinTwit world, okay, on X. And believe me, we have asked many people to follow along because I really truly feel that this could open up a whole new dynamic for folks, right? There's nothing like transparency. So, another disclaimer. Just because you have a lot of positive trades does not mean that you're profitable. It does not mean that I would be profitable. I could have 9 trades that are profitable, and on my last one I could lose. And you can look right here and go, man, 9 trades, he did 1 contract, and the last one he did 20 contracts and he lost thousands of dollars. He is unprofitable. So there's a lot of stuff that you can take away from this. But the cherry picking, that's the next one that really gets under my skin. You don't know when people are writing in alerts whether or not they took an alert, okay, on their own and then brushed it under the table. See, back in the old days when you're typing out alerts and you're like, this is coming into my setup, I'm thinking about taking it, I'm going to go ahead and, I start writing, right? So let's go back to the whiteboard. So we get back in here and I'm like, man, I really like this Roku trade. I just took it, right? I just took the trade. Roku, let's buy 120 puts, and I'm going to get in at 0.1, or let's go 1.00. All of a sudden, Roku starts shooting up. I'm already in the trade, and now this thing's worth 70 cents. I'm already down 30%, and I'm like, you know what? Let's go ahead and take that off of there. They don't need to know about that. So from looking at a written alert versus API alerts, there's a lot that you don't see. Okay? So with this, I'm not cherry picking. And I have to tell you, being in front of everybody for many years now and trading is very difficult. Just trading in itself is very difficult. But I've taken the choice to show exactly what I'm doing. And I find this to be one of the best things that I could provide for traders. This is really going to help traders understand that I lose and I win just like anybody else. It's the system that I want to teach you. It's the consistency of waking up in the morning, seeing a couple levels on the chart, understanding that sometimes you can lose and sometimes that you can win. And I get to show you this, and Melissa gets to show you this, because sometimes we get stopped out. Sometimes trades can go to zero. And all of this is right here within the alerts. So If you don't have any questions about the alerts, or if you do, please go ahead and ask after you watch this video. You guys can put that in the comment. But before I get started and go through the December alerts, I would like for you guys just to take a moment, like the video, the fact that I'm taking out the time and just kind of going over this with you and sharing this with you. I really hope that it's able to help you. I want you to look for the right things when you're looking for education. Okay? So alerts are very important, right? You want transparency. You want to know, are they winning? Are they losing? And so forth. Now, I'm going to tell you, there's going to be things that I talk about in here that we're going to see that I want to work on. So some of my 2024 goals, and they've been goals of mine for a couple years, and I keep messing up. And that's the truth. And again, I just want to be transparent. I have to stick with an allocation size across the board. One thing I'll tell you with trading, what I notice, because what's awesome is we have, and I have my partner here, Melissa, who trades with me, right? She's my trading partner, right? She's very, very good. Matter of fact, year to date, I think she's above 70% win rate. She is profitable on the year, and she teaches right here at Simpler Trading with me in the Trendy Trading Room. The difference between Melissa and I is that she sticks to a $700 to $750 allocation every time she takes a trade. Every time. And there's a huge difference between someone that does that every single time and somebody that trades all over the board. $100 here, $50 here. Well, this is a lotto, so I'll put 30 bucks in it. All right. I'm that person where I trade different allocations. I'm trading futures. I'm doing debit spreads. I'm doing, some at the monies. I do some out of the monies and so forth. And one of my big things for 2024 that I want to work on for myself is keeping an allocation at the same exact every time you take a trade. I do not grade my setups, but I think that we all mentally do, right? And when we mentally grade a setup, we tend to go, oh, well, we only have 2 days, so I don't think this will work out, but it's definitely something I would typically trade, so I'm going to put $100 into it. And that $100 turns into 500, and you're like, well, why didn't I just go with my normal allocation? So one thing I would tell you is you guys have to start with a number that you're comfortable with. And when I say comfortable, what are you comfortable losing? If you're planning on holding a trade overnight, understand, especially in the options world, that could go close to 80% down to maybe opening up to zero. There's a lot of factors in there, okay? A lot of different things that can happen. Now on equity, you could just end up holding a bag, right? You get in at $100 in something, you get a bad news event, and you're down 25%. There's nothing you could do about it. You got to close out. You're finished, or unless you end up wanting to hold this for a long-term trade. Okay. So again, my 2024 goal for myself when it comes to alerts, we're not going to do anything different. You're still going to get API alerts, but one thing that I want to work on is keeping that same allocation going. Now, as I go through here with you in December, I'm going to use the Discord because, again, it's just easier for me to go through. And personally, I think it's more visually appealing. You can see. All right, so we are going to start here on December 1st, and you can see that right here. And you'll notice that I'll have my picture here or Melissa's picture, and you'll be able to see the alerts themselves. Okay. Now here's the SPX credit spread, and you'll notice that basically I sold this, and so the credit that I was receiving was 860 bucks if this thing pinned, or basically it's an iron condor. If it would have done exactly what I wanted to, I could have made 860 bucks, and the risk on this was only like less than $1. All right, I love these type of trades. Now I sold back, I made 33%. You can see here, I sold back at 6. I could have held it longer, made some more money. We're not going to go over each trade like this, but I want you to see that my alerts capture all these different trades. Okay, so notice 33% there on Costco. Sorry, this was Costco. This was an alert that we got out for $6. Sorry, you'll see this later on SPX. This one here, this was $6. We got out of a Costco straight up trade, 605 calls at 33%. Here's Melissa buying some Tesla, and you'll notice here Tesla comes through. It tells you exactly how much she's paying. The quantity is 3. She adds into it. Now, why is she adding here? And this is great for members who are coming in. So why is she adding to it? If you notice, if you do the math here, she still had some room to add into the specific trade that she bought into. Okay. Down here on Amazon. Now, this is an equity trade, and you can tell it says equity right there. And basically, what this is saying is if I bought Amazon at 146.50 and it goes to 146.90, then I made 48 cents on the trade. And now, if you bought 100 shares, then that's 48 bucks. If you bought 1,000 shares, it's 480. You guys get the point. So it's very straightforward on plus or minus out of the trade. So again, we're just trimming here, trimming. Here's some Mara equity as well. Here's Amazon again. I get stopped out. Now notice on here it says sell equity. All right, and you notice this is red, so it's letting me know, hey, we're closed out here. Roku. You can see here, Melissa likes to at the monies most of the time, and you can see that she got out at 385 for 28%. Microsoft, I do a lot of debit spreads as well. Microsoft, I'm trimming at 26%. Tesla trim for her at 8. Microsoft trim for me at 60 cents. Microsoft trim 40%. And again, this is letting our traders know that I still have some left. And in the simpler room, it tells you how many I have left, which is really neat. All right, so there's none of that guesswork, like does he still have more options? Does he not? And if you just follow the quantity and so forth, you know exactly what I have. Tesla trim again for Melissa at 26%. Microsoft, you can see here, I had a trailing stop on this position, made 126%. Microsoft, it looks like I buy equity here at 372 and some change. SoFi, I buy some SoFi at 25 cents. SPX, looks like I buy some calls. It looks like a butterfly at 35 cents. Microsoft, I'm getting out for $1 gain on my equity. IWM, these were butterflies, and you guys can see that as well. And we'll just keep kind of going through these slow. SoFi 12%, SoFi 20%, 40%, 56%, SPX 71%. Okay, and then moving on down here, SoFi trim 100%. Mara, we made $1.04 in the equity. IWM 29%. That was those butterflies. And again, you could judge and take a look at these and see how well we're doing in our trading. Are you seeing a bunch of losers? Are you seeing a bunch of winners? Okay, moving on down here, IWM 51%. I close out there. Mara getting out for $1.27 gain from the entry. We're taking some more trades. Mara 200%, $1.65. SPY trim 88%. SPY trim or close 86. SoFi 56% close. Mara trim 165%. Nvidia 74%. You guys can see the prices over here. You're getting an idea of how these come through and how they look. And again, coin closed at 44 cents. Most likely this was a debit and I was buying back a short side. Nvidia 110% at 231. Mara 200% at $1.65. Mara, what this means right here is I took equity, okay, and then I had to cover, and you guys can see here I lost $2.86. Okay, big old minus sign right there. Mara 190%. I liked Mara a couple weeks ago. BA $2.54 from Melissa. She's trimming 5%, 269. Netflix 295. I'm actually still in this trade. GME. I bought some equity, it looks like here. Costco, I'm in Costco. BA, she's trimming. Let's keep going down here. Game, 41 cents we made on the equity. Meta, looks like I jump in. I added some to John Deere. I'm trimming that John Deere at 23%. BA, 61% from Mel. And we just keep going down here. 58 cents on equity, 93 cents, 19% on Meta. AMD, looks like she's getting in 44%. I close on Costco. You guys can see that there at 455. Keep on moving down. Tesla, trim at 10%. JPM, she gets in at 270. Again, Tesla, trim at 40%. JPM, 12%. Meta, 17%. AMD, negative 13%. Roku. Then we get into trims, 10, 18, 37%. MDB, 60 cents. Nvidia 9.4%. Sometimes we have to trim fast, it's not beautiful, but again, there's nothing wrong with using targets and trimming at your targets. Moving on down, Nvidia taking a loss for 8%. Google Microsoft DE -5%, Google Trim 16%. Moving on down here, $1.32 from equity, Google 31%, 18%, 25% on ABBV. Let's keep on moving down here. You guys can see 46% in Google again, Roku 3.7%, SPX. This looks like an iron condor and making 18% there. Roku 7, ABBV 20%. And again, you guys can see the prices if you want to slow this down and take a look to get an idea how much we're paying for options on the normal. Google 45%. Moving on down, Google 37%, Costco 29%, Microsoft equity trade. A lot of positive trades in here. All right, Google 74%, Game 51%, Costco buying some net debits, Costco buying some more, Game 115%. But on down here, 30 cents on Microsoft. Not a loser, but not a beautiful winner. That's okay. SPX 66%. Moving on down here, Netflix 16%. We're trimming. Moving on down, 8%. ABBV $1.25. ABBV equity 34 cents. 5% on Oracle, 250% on SPX, 91.52. These are all winners here. 27% loser on AMD. One of Melissa's trades. Great management though. Melissa's so good at managing her trades, keeping those small losses. Again, you guys can slow these down and take a look at them later. But what I want you to focus on is there is transparency here. 14%, 29 cents, 31%. Moving on down, 47%. Moving on down, $1.87 in Meta. You're not seeing a lot of red. And you could look back and say, oh man, it's been really easy. We've gone up for 9 weeks. But you need to recall that we were actually one of the first ones, and we were down at the Money Show in Orlando 9 weeks ago, and I called that bottom, right? And so we've been coaching and teaching and staying with the right side of the trend the whole time. And not every day is like you just open up and buy calls. It's not that easy. We have a process. We wait for prices to dip into levels and so forth. Okay, 19% loss there on Qs. Moving on down here, 23%. Moving on down, $1.21, 40%, 13 cents, negative $1.11 got stopped. Moving on down, 29% on Nvidia, 14%, 22%. Here's a bigger loss, I guess you could say, 51%. That's probably one of those you wake up and unfortunately it's down. And then we go on down here, 12%, 29%, 10%. 200% on SPX, 120% on Netflix, 475. IWM 611. By the way, also one of the first ones to get into this trade. I tweeted this out a long time ago. And you can go and look at those now. Those are 278. Actually, let's do that while we're sitting here. So I'm going to come over here and look at IWM. All right, and these were expiration on them September the 30th of 2024. Yep, that's right. 277 days to go. And let's see, we got in around 260, 250, and those are currently going for $7.62. So again, one of the first ones there. If you ever want to see that chart, feel free to reach out. I'll show you what our plan was. And actually, I think I put it out on X, so you guys should be able to see it. So, right. Moving on down here again, shop, trim. This means most likely when you see something like this, a trim, is that this thing was down, it came back up, and so I'm just lightening the load, if you will. And I think I remember this day. This is where everything went pretty crazy. You can see here, 1.82% on a Google trim, down missed 22% on this trade, and 20% on DE. And this one, I remember this one as well. These went up to like $6 or $7 after I started trimming some. This was I don't know if anybody recalls, but we had that day back on 13th of December where everything just ended up ripping, I believe, and all of the trades came right back, which was pretty beautiful. Snow 25%, 35%, negative 10%, up 45%. Moving on down here, 60% on DEC. They start coming back, right? You're like, holy smokes. And I remember this thing ripped. It went in the money, which was absolutely insane. But anyways, SPY 29%, SPY 54%, 47, 85, 22, 44, 13, 92 on CELH. Beautiful trade there. Love CELH. Tesla Trem 41%. 4.76%. And moving on down here, keep going 40% again. $1.45, 3 point. Now, while I'm doing this, I know it sounds like a lot, but I'm also really against spreadsheets. All right. Again, I don't do spreadsheets. These are straight from the API. So I always tell people if you want to take the alerts and put them in a spreadsheet, you're more than welcome to take a look, to see like how well we're doing. I think you get a really good picture. Do we win a lot or do we lose a lot? You start to get the picture as I'm scrolling through here that we have a lot of winners. But again, all right, again, winners versus losers, there's a lot more between that. Like, how much are you allocating? Are you holding some of these long enough? Are your losers taking out your winners? This is, again, a journey for a lot of traders. My whole thing here with alerts is just to show you that we put our money where our mouth is, and this is coming directly from our accounts. Okay. So again, we could roll through these. My point that I want to make really quick is, while I'm doing this, again, you're going to see a lot of winning trades. We're going to look back. You're going to say, hey, it's been 9 weeks. It's beautiful. It's easy. I don't think it's been that easy. There's a lot of signs. There's been a lot of traders calling for a pullback. We haven't got that pullback. Matter of fact, when it gets up like this, it's hard to press the gas, right? So I don't think it's easy at all. I think that these percentages are great. If you're just tuning in, my biggest thing for 2024 is that I really want to up the size on my trades. I win a lot and I just need to increase that value. I have a pretty substantial size account, depending on how you look at it. I could definitely be making a lot more money on my green days, and I could be losing a lot more as well on my red days. So just to be clear. All right, but I really, really want to focus on making that same amount of money per trade. All right, because these consistent wins are pretty high. You got 40, 50, 60, and sometimes 200 and 300%. Those are the trades. If you're putting some nice size behind that, they're looking pretty damn good. And I think during this whole entire time, we're on the 20th now, we've seen one trade from Melissa that was down 50%. One trade, right? It's pretty crazy. Moving on down here again, you guys can see all these wins: 147%, 39%, 84%. Keep on moving. 19, 163%, 29, 44, 32, 43, 50, 1.27, stop for 23%, 51% on COP. Coming on down here, this is where I added to UNH, and then I trimmed that today on the move up. And then that pretty much sums up CELH: 59%, 9%, 3, 7, 15, and then 25. Okay, this is from today, right there. And then, all right, right here we had a little glitch in the matrix. We fixed our alerts in the simpler room where everybody was asking for us for the debit spreads to fix them so that they look like this. And now they are fixed, which is great news. But we had a little glitch in there. And so it pushed out like many trade alerts of the same alert. And I apologize for that, but we got it fixed, and so we're good to go. But guys, I mean, that sums it up for December. Like, there's a lot of winners in here, and very few losers. And again, it's not to say I'm going to make you profitable. My biggest thing of reviewing this with you was to show you that we are different. We do things differently. Ask yourself, why are other services not doing API alerts? Why won't they show you every single trade they take? And I get it. There might be valid reasons. They're like, well, I don't want you to see everything that I trade. But, I've always felt like if I'm up here teaching and I'm showing you, then it wouldn't be fair for me to be sitting in the background wiping the trades that aren't working for me underneath the table and only handwriting alerts. And again, I'm not saying everyone does that. These are the reasons why I used API alerts so that there is no question whether or not I'm wiping option or equity trades under the table. These are everything that's in this specific account. This is my Trendy John account. This is a real account ending in 39, and it is real. Melissa's account is real. These are not paper trade accounts, and this is very, very important for me to be transparent for you because I don't want you to fall into the same, I guess, category that I fell in, thinking that I could just and believe me, just because these trades that I'm showing you guys that are winners, I need you to hear this. It doesn't mean that you're going to win on the trade, right? It doesn't. You need to understand that. And I don't care whose room you go to or what you do, it doesn't mean you're going to make money just because the person who is in charge or the person that is the head trader is doing well on their alerts does not mean that you will be profitable. Trading is very, very difficult. It gives you all sorts of insights to how you're going to react in some of the hardest environments. I think what's important is that every time you wake up in the morning, the question is, are you able, okay, are you able to do something consistent? Into next year, I'll be looking at some of my favorite names, but obviously going over the ES futures, NASDAQ futures, RTY, and the Dow Jones. And I am very confident that I will be able to give you the best blueprint for 2024 out there. I do very well in able to identify supply and demand and give you a plan for 2024. So I hope that you guys can join us. If you're not a member at Simpler, just come in on the trial, and come check it out. Come in on the trial. You could sit through that happy hour, and that's enough in itself. And I can't remember exactly how much our trial is, but I want to say it's somewhere between like $7 or something like that. So maybe 7 for 7 days or 7 for 30. I'm not sure. Don't quote me, but you'd have to go to the site and check it out and find out for yourself. Okay. Now, when I say, all right, let me take a drink of water here. Again, this is all impromptu. I'm just kind of talking with you guys. Now, when I say that I want you to be able to wake up and be consistent, there's a lot of different things that do here at Simpler, and again, education is at the forefront. So I want to be able to teach you how to identify supply and demand. I guess what I would say the manual way. So just by finding structure and candles, talking through that with you, helping you understand why a zone is better than the other zones. Not all zones are created equal. And then I will introduce my indicators, right? My trendy edges, the trendy edges themselves, why they're awesome, why they take a lot of the time out so that you don't have to look for this structure. But again, I'm going to teach you how to find the structure first, and then you're going to see that the trendy edges identify a playing field of supply and demand. And that is what is important. Okay. So time is important, right? So essentially we get better. When we first start, everything looks crazy. And then as we get better, we're like, man, we don't have time to go through all this. I need something that's going to help me. So for example, you guys can see there's a trendy edge here. So, we teach when price pulls back into the edge, that's where we want to belong. Here's another edge. And all my edges, they identify supply and demand on different time frames. All right. And then I'm able to identify, and let me come over here. I'm able to identify these edges by just one click of a button. And so when I say consistency, blue is for my lead traders, yellow is for my weekly traders, orange is for my day traders, and then we have a purple one that you see here for traders that are looking more like several weeks to a month or a month to 3 months. Okay, so again, swing trading versus intraday trading. And again, it's very easy. I just click a button, it takes me to the chart, and then I can find what zones we're at, supply or demand. And then we have some of the normal things that you'll see out and about, right? We have an EMA cloud. The EMA cloud is a little bit different than most people's. It identifies structure in candles. It has different color candles to let you know the momentum and the trend. And we use that very simply, and I teach you how to do that as well. Then we have the banners up here. These banners let me know by using my Fibonacci that I teach what trend we're actually in. And I have to tell you, it's different than most. Supply and demand traders will understand that when most people are looking to go short, we're actually looking to buy. And so, again, this is what caught the bottom when we were in Orlando. A trendy edge. And I sat at a table with a group of individuals who were being told, hey, it's time to go short. And I said, the bottom's in. That's how much I trust the trendy edges. It worked very well. You guys can see here 9 weeks later, here we are to the upside. Now, did anybody think that it would actually push this far? Not really. It's a pretty awesome push. But as long as we're staying above the cloud and so forth, things look great. All right. Then I'm going to teach you how to take this and identify from the top down how you take something from a weekly, looking at it daily, looking at a 4 hour, and then how we enter trades on a 5 minute chart. For example, we use what's called the PMZ or the pre-market zone. Okay, so this pre-market zone here, today, we coached it very simply. It was like you go long above it. This is the open. You trim at our targets. All right, and this is the same thing I gave you guys yesterday here on Twitter. And you can see the liquidity chop worked very well. And as I teach you guys, liquidity chop is where we're basically taking stops from retail traders to build liquidity for a bigger move to the upside or downside. All right. Very, very straightforward process. You go long above it, you go short below it. If the banners are telling you to be short, overall they weren't, so I didn't short today. You know what I mean? So in this case, we're able to understand in the mornings, it tells you what your risk is. It's the difference between the two lines. That is basically your bracket trade for ES futures trade. And these PMZs are found on every, all your equity trades if you want to take options and so forth as well. So again, top-down approach, very straightforward. We have, these green and red signals that identify structure, and then we have blue and yellow, which is called the trendy turns. And these trendy turns are money. Let me go over here and show you on the Nasdaq today as well. That PMZ looked like because I gave you guys blueprints yesterday as well. All right. So this is the NASDAQ, and today basically we were underneath it. So we coached this is resistance until otherwise. I know we had traders that went short. You guys could see this work to the line in the sand. We got another level there. Basically, at the end of the day, it works very, very well to the downside. Okay. And you can go back. I mean, once you use these indicators, you can go back and I know many hundreds, thousands of people. We've been offering this for a very long time. You can go back and back test this and see how it works for you. But I love the system. It gives you a risk. You could use the other levels to understand your reward. So you have a risk to reward before you get started. So very, very important that as well. Right. So again, guys, just to like really sum it up, I think like what's important is that you understand. Sometimes I ask my wife, I'm like, babe, I feel like I sound egotistical, and I've talked about this in the room. And she said, John, it's you're not egotistical. You have a lot of pride because you've worked so hard and you've been through a lot of things, and you just want other traders to understand where you're coming from. And I've said, you know what? You're right. I have a lot of pride, but two of those things can kind of get mixed up sometimes. Um, I'm just really passionate. Just got a lot of pride, and I don't see anybody else being as transparent. And I don't see, to be quite frankly, there's not a lot of process out there. There's a lot of alerts. There's a lot of written alerts out there. There's a lot of people bragging, but not a lot of people being transparent with their alerts. Like my big thing at the end of the day, 50% is 50%. 20% is 20%. If I lose 80%, it's the loss of 80%. How much money did you put into it? I don't care if you put $100,000 or you put $500 in it. 20% is 20%. So you have to figure out who you are as a trader. Do you trade big money? Cool. Is this system for you? You got to find out. Obviously, I'm biased, right? I think the levels work really well. I think the signals work very well. I think we have tons of people that are really, really happy. But trading's not for everybody. You're going to have traders that no matter what they do, they just always lose, right? We're going to have traders, right? Talking about cherry picking, you're going to have traders that come in and go, well, I tried Melissa's trades and they didn't work for me. So I went to John's trades. As soon as I went to John's trades, his trades didn't work, and then Melissa started doing good. Or vice versa, right? The ebb and flow of the market is just a fickle thing, isn't it? Anything can happen in the market. What I want you to be comfortable with, one, what are you comfortable with losing? What is your allocation when you take a trade? Do you know where your stops are? Do you know where your entries are? Can you repeat this every single day? If I wake up tomorrow and get hit by a bus, are you able to use the tools that I taught you and able to read the levels? Do you know how to read the market? And everything that I'm talking about, I teach you every single day. We're live every morning, 30 minutes before the open, Monday through Friday. Sunday, I do my free video that I send out to everybody so that everybody can learn, right, about the broad market analysis. And again, I went ahead and updated that. I'll be doing a video this weekend, but I did update the room charts. So if you guys want to see those, just go click on the broad market analysis. You'll see those there. Okay. So again, guys, if you have any questions about the alerts, what I encourage traders to do is you can look at alerts, you can look at the percentages, but figure out what your allocation is. Can you stick to the same allocation every single time? I find that it's hard. Melissa does it very nicely. People are different. And can you repeat this over and over and over? And are you learning a consistent process? You know, or or is the process you're learning only good when the market's going up? That's even right. So things are going to change. Things will get hard when they do. And when that time comes, will the education that you're learning prevail? Will it work? And I have to say, supply and demand is my go to. It is the only, and it's not an indicator, it doesn't move, right? My trendy edges don't move. So demand and supply is set in the market, it's on different time frames. I teach you how to execute, get to those levels. Okay. Not many indicators out there when the market's going down tell you when to buy. Matter of fact, the masses are telling you to typically to sell. They're scared, right? I want you to learn how to think differently. I want you to put these things together. I want to be able to do that for you at an astronomical price. I mean, honestly, like Simpler is doing these sales again on the room, right, for the year, right? We have like a 30% off, and that's a great thing to take advantage of. I mean, the trial is all right. Listen, guys, like I got bought out, right? So back in the day, like we give so many things away. Like I'm thinking to myself, like with the information that we teach is just valuable, you know. And if anything, if it is indeed $7 for 30 days or 7 days, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but that's kind of hard to it's kind of hard to pass on. If you hear somebody tell you to learn on your own, oh man, try to think like learning on your own. So when I first started, learning on my own cost me a lot more money than I wanted to spend. I just went to whoever was popular. Okay, they seem good. Their website seems like they're good. And again, I was just trying to follow this and didn't really out well. It wasn't until I learned about supply and demand that things really started to change for me and how I looked at the market. Um, That's, that's the same stuff that I teach everybody. So, and and you can learn if you don't want to come in, you don't want to spend $7 on a trial or whatever, and you have something that's working for you, then I encourage you to stick with it. But if you don't mind spending a couple bucks and seeing what Melissa and I are all about, then that's okay too. We have content right here on YouTube, um, that I believe just watching some of my content here on YouTube can really help out. Just things for you to think about, but don't take too long. If you're in the room already and you're listening, um, I would highly recommend that you ask a lot of questions. All right. So use the off topic room to journal. Tell us what trades you took, where you entered, where you got stopped. Maybe you're trying something new, and it's not working out, or maybe you're having a hard time as you start. There's a lot of psychological stuff to this madness, that all I can tell you is I could give you my 2 cents on where I've been and kind of things that I've been through, and hopefully can help you. So, I really appreciate you guys taking this time out and just listening to me. Again, I just kind of want to give you my ideas on why I don't think a lot of people use API alerts. Again, I don't know if it does except for us. Um, and why I believe that they're good, why they are transparent. They're just a trade alert. It says whether you lost or won. And what you can do at the end of the day is say to yourself, um, does this, are they winning more than they lose, or do they lose more than they win? But before I finish this, damn it, just listen to me. Just because somebody is winning a lot of trades doesn't mean they're profitable. And I have this thing that I'll tell you. If your whole thing is, if somebody is profitable, all right, let me just use John Doe as a name. If John Doe is profitable, you saw that John Doe made $25,000 on a trade, does not mean that you're to be profitable. Matter of fact, if I were you, if you wanted to put your money in a hedge fund, and I know one who's probably willing to take on some clients, then I would ask them if they're profitable because they're trading your money. You have to be responsible for your money. Your money is your money. Find a system, understand your tolerance, and learn how to trade. If you don't want to take responsibility, go to a hedge fund, give them about $200 to $250,000, and let them trade your money. Services, education services, are not trading your money. They are teaching you something that they believe that was hard for them, and that they have found an easier way to approach the market. Whether it's from a psychological standpoint, whether it's from, hey, this is how I like to use stops, or I like to use EMAs. There's so many wonderful things that you can learn from the right people. All right. But there's also a lot of bull crap out there, and it's hard to get through. I was just thinking to myself, I was thinking about like, God, what was I at just today? I was like taking on a new hobby. Was it like pickleball? It could have been anything. Seriously. And I was like, but if I go out to YouTube, I'm going to get inundated by tons of people who say that they're the best at it. And that's the part that like really gets me down. Like you can't, and I know this, I use YouTube myself. There are so many stock, and everybody makes it sound so easy. But I think that I built my reputation on transparency and being real with people. I am not the best trader by any stretch of the imagination. I could be making a lot more money if I'd put more allocation into my trades. There are a lot of things that I could do better in trading. But I've taught thousands of people around the world. And I have to say, from a business perspective, I haven't had many complaints. You can't make everybody happy, but at the same time, make a lot of people happy that they found something that opened up their eyes. And if I can just do that, if it's one little thing to make people feel better about their trading, then I have succeeded. And again, if you're looking to be profitable, I guarantee you it's all about you. It has nothing to do with me or any other person out there. It is a personal journey. You will find yourself. Keep your chin up. Perseverance is key in this game. Try to block the noise. Stop the news. Stop listening to a bunch of people on TV just because they're on TV. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm getting older, but I'm telling you right now, just because someone's on TV doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about. And who knows? I could be on TV soon, right? I could be. But when you group a bunch of people together, everybody has different opinions. Just being real with you. I'm going to be real with you. This is hard. It's extremely hard. Very, very hard. And if you want to get better, you better dig in. You better start studying because I'm where I am today and teaching tons, when I say tons, thousands of people. I'm here because I didn't stop and I still don't stop. I'm right now, right here, 7:53 Central Time, teaching you guys something. Like I'm pumped. Every single day that I wake up, I'm pumped. You should be pumped, right? I'm teaching my neighbors how to trade, man. They should be waking up in the morning. They should be looking at charts. They should be going at night looking at charts. And they should be thinking, man, how can I do this even better? If you're not doing that and you're waking up 3 minutes before the bell rings, you're not ready. This isn't for you. You're being lazy. Think about it, right? Think about it. Are you? Are you ready for 2024? Do you got a journal? Are you ready? Are you going to write in? Are you going to be real with yourself for this year? Are you going to say, "Hey man, I got to stop doing stupid stuff?" I am. I hope you guys are ready with me. I really do. We got to keep each other accountable. These alerts will keep me accountable. You'll know when I'm winning and when I'm losing. And you could say to me, "Hey, John, why'd you take 50 bucks on that trade, but you took 2,000 on the other one? That's stupid. You're breaking your rules, man." Hold me accountable, right? We are all here trying to do the same thing. No ego. I want you to make money. I want to make money. I need to make more money. I really do. I got 3 kids. I got a grandson. There's a lot of stuff that I want to give to them before I leave this earth. This is why I trade. To see people get better, but I also want to enrich the people in my family because I won't be around. I want to leave a legacy. You know, one day maybe somebody will be like, "Hey, John wrote a book, man. It was cool. I learned a lot from that guy. Pretty trendy, man." Right? Is that crazy? I keep being asked to make a book, but we'll see. I just don't know. It takes a lot of time. See, I'm excited for the new year. It's the 28th. Tomorrow's the last day of the new year. I can't wait to put some new charts together. I think depending on tomorrow how it goes, I could be closing out all my positions, whether they're winning or they're losing, and just close them out and get right back in. Get in the swing of things for 2024. I know that Melissa closed out most of her positions today and kept two on. One of them's a leap, and the other one I'm not sure, but I know one of them's a leap. So. Anyways, guys, it's almost top of the hour. It's almost 8 o'clock here. I'll see you guys in the morning. Can't wait to trade with you. If you guys have any questions after my rant here, please feel free to reach out. You guys have a wonderful night. And again, just stop by Simpler Trading and ask for me, and you can join the room, hang out with us, and see what you get during that trial, okay? Have a wonderful night, folks.